The medical profession tells us that 80% of the people in our hospitals are there to treat or die from a stress-related illness. Imagine that. We have a single identifiable cause of what costs us $170 billion a year, and we do nothing about it from a government perspective. That's like saying we know what causes cancer, diabetes, heart attack and death, but we aren't going to spend any money on fixing it. What we'll do instead is we'll spend a mint on drugs that may or may not work, but which definitely make the pharmaceutical industry a bunch of happy campers. Given that the government isn't interested in tackling the real problem, it's going to come down to what you do to handle the inevitable stress in your life. Now, why do I say inevitable? Well, think about it. Are you going harder and faster now than you were 5 years ago? And was that 5 years ago harder and faster than 5 years before that? The truth is that most of us have the pedal to the metal and we're redlining our lives at unprecedented levels. Sure, it's great that you can walk down the street checking your mail, shopping for the groceries and doing your banking, but that just means that you get to the end of another day where you did more than you've ever done before. And when was the last time you woke up and said to yourself, I'd love to pay bills, do mail and get the groceries all day? Let's face it, paying bills is paying bills. It's efficient, but it ain't fun, relaxing, or anything like what's on your list of personal me-time activities. So we end up having achieved an enormous amount in any one day. In fact, those things used to take your mother all week. But there isn't anything in it for you. And by that I mean nothing that relieves the pressure, that takes the edge off, that revitalises, that rejuvenates, that refreshes. So tell me if you relate to this. Years back, my car dealer mates would get old junkers destined for the wreckers and start them up, put a brick on the accelerator and place bets on how long until the engine would blow up. Like you, there was a guarantee that running those motors full bore would end up with a loud bang and a cloud of smoke permanently broken. The question wasn't if, it was when. You see, it's all beer and Skittles until that big bang. We tell ourselves that we aren't that bad. In fact, it's fast and loud and kind of addictive to be that productive. We get plenty of brownie points for all of that achievement. But if you look at heart disease in Australia, the first sign of a problem for 40% of sufferers is death. That's that big bang I just mentioned. So what's the solution? Obviously, a long walk on a lonely beach would be great, or staring into a fire for an evening. Perhaps a holiday's overdue, or probably a fishing trip would do the trick. Maybe sitting in a forest would work. For most of us, those things would be great, but they're also impractical because they chew up massive amounts of time. Of course, you know how badly you need them if you get to the beach and it takes you 3 days to unwind. Therefore, practically speaking, the only option is lots of small, de-stressing activities during a day. It's ridiculously simple, really. If a day out on your boat does it for you, closing your eyes for a few minutes and imagining that you're on that boat will give you 80% of the benefit without getting covered in salt, sweat and sunscreen. Not only will you not need a shower, you'll save money on petrol. Alternatively, you can pretend you were sitting in your garden, walking in a magnificent forest, playing with your kids when they're 3 years old, catching a wave at a cool beach, flying your hang glider over a magnificent scenery. The list is actually endless. But we just don't think to force fit it. So here's your assignment should you choose to accept it. Work 55 minutes. Go hard during that time and do your best. Focus and go for it. Then take that last 5 minutes out of the hour and disappear into what I call the real world, the world that you create for the purpose of nurturing you and your spirit. It's pretty easy, really. Just set the timer on your phone and log out, unplug and tune in. You will feel different from the very first time onwards.